Hi, hello, and welcome to this week's pet pairing. It has been so long since I last filmed a video that I'm not even sure that I still remember how to do it. But we're just going to go ahead and give it a shot, okay? I'm going to take my Inglot eyeshadow primer, which is now decanted in here. I'm just trying to use the last bits of that. There's really no reason why I haven't filmed a video this past week, except for I was feeling a little bit tired and uninspired, and I just kind of lazied out. I think I was also partially waiting for my Prada Beauty order to come in so that I can film a video with that, but that has been taking so long, like almost 2 weeks now. So I ordered about 2 weeks ago, and then I made a rather large order. I ordered the foundation, a quad, and 2 lipsticks. And for whatever reason, they sent out the foundation separately from the lipsticks and the eyeshadow quad. So the foundation came in last Friday. I'm not gonna use it today. I'm going to save it for the video. I'm going to take my Estee Lauder Double Wear in the shade 2N1 instead. And then for whatever reason, the rest of my order has been literally I don't know, 10 kilometers away from here, being held hostage in one of those distribution facilities. And yesterday I received a message from Prada that they require my address and telephone number because apparently something is wrong and they can't locate me for whatever reason, so I had to provide it ASAP or they would return the order back to Italy. Now, in all fairness, I have to say Prada has no fault in any of that. They've been actually pretty amazing about it. They apologized and they said that they hope the order arrives promptly. It's something with the distribution facility here. Anyway, I don't know why that's an interesting story to you. That's not an interesting story to you at all. But long story short, I'm still waiting for the rest of the stuff to appear so that I can film with everything at the same time. Everything everywhere all at once. Oh, speaking about movies. Today we're going to talk about movies and TV shows. And the first thing I'm going to share with you is that I walked out of the cinema. I walked out of a movie that I paid for the very first time in my freaking life. I had never, ever walked out of a movie in the cinema. I've seen people do it. Many years ago when I went to see La La Land, I saw a bunch of people leaving the theater because I think the poor suckers didn't know that the movie involves dancing and singing. But anyway, ironically, I walked out on a movie with Emma Stone. And by now you probably can guess which movie I walked out of, but if you hadn't, so a couple of weeks ago with one of my friends, we decided to go and see Poor Things. And in all fairness, I've not seen any of Yorgos Lanthimos' other movies, so I was vaguely familiar that he makes relatively peculiar movies, let's put it that way. He's made movies like The Lobster, The Favorite, I don't know, I've only ever heard of these two honestly, but he has made other movies and they are all in the category weird. And I had already read a little bit about Poor Things, so originally we wanted to see The Color Purple or Mean Girls. But unfortunately, by the time we actually were able to go to the movies, those weren't playing anymore. I'm going to take my Skin Correct Concealer from Dior in the shade 1N. So we thought, okay, let's just give Poor Things a try. All the while knowing that after I read about the movie, I thought, oh, this is one of those movies that could go either way for me. I might love it or I might hate it. And I want to preface this by saying that I consider myself a very open-minded, promiscuous kind of viewer. I will watch just about anything if it speaks to me on any sort of level. If there's anything in it for me, I will watch it. And if I enjoy it, I don't care if it's weird. However, what I do really hate is something for the sake of being something. And I absolutely hated this movie because to me this movie was just weird for the sake of being weird. There was no enjoyable element to it. I didn't find it funny, I didn't find it clever, I did not at all understand. So we, in the Netherlands, there are breaks during the movie, so you will go in, you will start the movie, and then about halfway through there's going to be a break so that you can go to the bathroom, go spend more money on popcorn and nachos and that kind of stuff. which in this particular case was very welcome, because when the break came, I told my friend that I'm kind of bored, I'm falling asleep. I've never fallen asleep in a movie theater. I was dozing off. To be fair, it had been a Saturday after a long week and I was quite tired, and we had had dinner already, so it was already pushing towards 10 in the evening, which for grandma here is quite late. But if the movie had been engaging, if I had been enjoying it, that would not have mattered one bit. I would have stayed in the theater, I would have enjoyed the whole experience, and I would have walked out feeling rejuvenated. But like I said, throughout the break, we sort of like started talking and we both realized that neither of us is enjoying the experience and we would both rather be in bed. So we walked out of the movie. I don't want to like spoil anything too much for you if you haven't seen the movie. I think it's one of those movies where you have to watch it and make up your own mind how you feel about it. But you know, personally, I did not enjoy any part of it. I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in the shade Fair. So, I'm very curious whether any of you have watched the movie and what your thoughts are on Poor Things. I so didn't understand the movie that I didn't understand what the overarching theme was. So on our way back, I was Googling the movie and I was Googling what the underlying theme was, what was the thing that they were trying to sell with the story of this movie. And guess what? It was a movie about feminism. It was a movie about a woman freed from the chains of societal expectations, you know, making her way in life completely unburdened by those expectations. Sadly, that was not at all what I took from this movie, and if it was, it felt like a man who thought that this is what, you know, an emancipated woman looks like. And for whatever reason, men seem to think that female emancipation mostly revolves around sexual emancipation. I'm sorry, no. I'm going to take the Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax. So, safe to say, in summary, I did not enjoy it. I don't know that I'm willing to give any of his other movies a chance. Because I just so did not enjoy this. You know, if this was, and like I said, I am a very open-minded viewer. I will watch weird things. And on the way back in the car, I was commenting how there are directors who do weird, but do it in an enjoyable way. Let's take an example, Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson's movies certainly qualify in the category of, you know, out there, peculiar, a bit odd, but still very enjoyable. I've never been bored by a Wes Anderson movie. I'm always enjoying the ride. Whereas here, I was not enjoying the ride one bit. So apparently Yorgos Lanthimos is just not for me. So like I said, I am sort of curious to give The Favorite a try, because that was another highly praised movie. From what I understand, again, Emma Stone nominated for Oscars. Again, I think she was nominated for an Oscar as well. So I am low-key thinking of maybe giving The Favorite a chance, but I will do it from the comfort of my own home, where I can turn off the movie whenever I want if I think it's bad. For bronzer, I'm going to take the Victoria Beckham Bronzing Brick in the shade 02, and I just swirl my brush into both powders. I'm very curious if you guys watched the movie. Do let me know. We don't have to give away any spoilers. I'm just curious whether you enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed it, what you enjoyed about it, and if you didn't enjoy it, what did you not enjoy about it. And then we can move on to talk about an experience that I enjoyed far more, which was season 4 of True Detective. We've spoken about True Detective before. I think season 1 of True Detective is a true television masterpiece. It's probably one of the absolute best TV shows that have ever been made. I didn't watch season 2 because that got really poor reviews, and I didn't really feel like wasting my time with that. I might at some point decide to watch it just out of sheer curiosity. And I'm pretty sure that last year I watched season 3 and we talked about it, and I mentioned how much I actually had enjoyed season 3. For blush, I'm going to take the Armani Luminous Silk Blush in the shade number 10, which is Nude Peach. Peach Nude or Nude Peach? I don't know, something of the sorts. It's the shade number 10. So season 4 sees a dramatic change in the writing room, because seasons 1 through 3 were all written by the same person, whereas season 4 has been created by a lady that I was actually not familiar with, Isa Lopez. So there's been, you know, a change in creative writing and directing of season 4. And it stars Jodie Foster. I love Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster is an amazing actress. And it takes place in Alaska. And my overall review of season 4 of True Detective is there were very enjoyable things about this season, but there were also I also have criticism and some head scratchers over there. First and foremost, this was by far, I think, the shortest season with only 6 episodes. And again, I'm going to try to talk about the show without really spoiling too much in case you haven't seen it, because it's rather new and I think there's a high chance that you haven't really quite seen it yet. So what I did very much enjoy about the show was the atmosphere and the setup. Never in my life have I really thought very deeply about Alaska. And the setup of the show, like I said, is in Alaska during the days when it's just dark. There's no sunlight. So already that is like such a vibe for the show. It's like everything's happening in the darkness, in the snow, in the desolation and isolation of, you know, this faraway place up there, you know, with this small community of people who all know each other. I'm going to now highlight with my Skin Fetish highlighting trio and do the usual thing, which is mix all the 3 shades together. So like I said, like super atmospheric, so well done in terms of like the atmosphere. The other thing I truly enjoyed about the show was the acting. So the 2 main leads, one of them being Jodie Foster and another lady who I was also not familiar with. She's an actress slash former boxer, and I found her absolutely magnetic. There was something about her and her character and her aura that I found very magnetizing. She's just so extremely, you know, fun to watch. So the two things that the show really has going for it are the atmosphere, the setup that was done amazingly together with the music, and the acting was superb. I'm very quickly going to set the powders on my face with the airbrush setting spray from Charlotte Tilbury, just here on my sponge. I'm not really a fan of spritzing my face, no matter how fine and pleasant the mist of a setting spray is, which this one is, by the way. If you really wanted to actually spritz your actual face, that would be no problem at all with the Charlotte Tilbury one. It's very nice, fine mist. Alright, getting started on the eye look, and I'm going to take the Utopian Dream palette, and the first shade I'm going to go into is this very beautiful neutral soft pink shade, which is going to go through my crease. However, I do have criticisms for Night Country, which is the title of the season 4. There were things about the plot that just didn't make any sense to me. I think the build-up was very good up until the end of episode 5. I was very much enjoying the story, although based on some elements that I was seeing in the show, I was a little afraid of the direction she's taking it into. And maybe that's going to be hard not to say. And on the one hand, like, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but on the other hand, I can't really not say anything about that. So a teeny tiny spoiler. I'm warning you for a teeny tiny spoiler. So already in season 1, I think, and maybe not so much in season 3, and I don't know about season 2, but in season 1 there were, again, not necessarily supernatural elements, but, you know, there was like a spiritual, let's say, element to the show. And again in season 5 there were a lot of allusions in the first episodes towards a supernatural element. However, and I can't stress this enough, True Detective is not the kind of show that you can incorporate supernatural elements into and not resolve them by logical, reasonable, you know, grounded in reality explanations. And I feel like this season took a little bit more liberty with the supernatural element, and I was already a little bit afraid of that throughout the earlier episodes, because at one point I was like, you cannot show this scene and there's like just a very heavy supernatural element here. you might really enjoy that, so I don't, you know, I don't want you to take this as a huge negative that I have for the show. For example, some years ago we talked about Behind Her Eyes, which was another show on well, not on HBO. This one is on HBO. The one that I'm talking about now is on Netflix. Behind Her Eyes was another one of those TV series that had like a mystery element to it, and it wasn't clear until halfway through the show where they were taking it, and then all of a sudden they took it in like a really supernatural, you know, direction, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? But okay, you know, I'm in for the ride, so I will enjoy the rest of the show. But in my opinion, it was True Detective is not the type of show, I feel like, where you can rely too heavily on a mysterious supernatural element. You gotta keep it grounded in reality ultimately, which, you know, I'm not saying that it in the end it was not. I just feel like the supernatural element was a little bit too heavy for my taste in a show like True Detective. I'm going to take a little pause here to tell you that I'm going to take the chocolate brown shade here in order to, you know, do the usual thing that I do, which is wing it here as a smoky liner in my lashes for some definition. Also, besides the supernatural element, like I said, I have huge criticisms about the story writing. There were just some like gaping plot holes towards the end of the last episode, and just some things that I was like, what? That makes absolutely no sense with earlier scenes in the show. So that is my biggest criticism, that I don't know whether it's because they rushed to wrap it up in 6 episodes instead of like 8 to 10, which I feel like was previous seasons of True Detective. I don't know what was going on there, but that needs to be fixed in the future, because she will remain, this Issa Lopez woman will remain the showrunner for True Detective for season 5 as well. And I like what she's doing, but she really needs to fix her screenwriting and her story to not have such gaping plot holes. That was really my maybe biggest criticism of the show, that you cannot afford in a show that has this high quality of storytelling to have such a multitude of such big plot holes. Alright, next I'm going to take my glitter glue and I'm going to apply just the tiniest bit of that all over my lids. And again, if you've seen the latest season of True Detective, I would love to hear your thoughts about it. Have you already finished it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? We can maybe be a little bit more spoily in the comments. And because I enjoyed True Detective so much, one of my colleagues recommended Fortitude to me, so I've started watching Fortitude, which is also on HBO, because it has a very similar setup, like a desolate Arctic city where something happens, like a crime happens, and then they have to solve it. But I'm only at like episode 3 of that one, so I don't really have much to say about it. I'm going to grab Interstellar Icon now and go into my beloved Golden Polaris, which is going to go all over my lids. This shade makes my heart skip a beat. It is so beautiful, so beautiful. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. That's what I've been, you know, busy with this last week, and one of the reasons I was just so distracted and didn't really have much energy or space in my head to think about my channel, because I was binge watching TV shows, meaning I would not have time to edit or have any desire to edit videos, because that's usually when I edit videos, in the evenings in front of the TV. So usually I'll have something on TV that's low-key, that I can be distracted. There are commercials on TV. Whereas if I put up a show like this, I'm just binge watching until I go to bed. Okay, for my inner corners, I'm going to keep it rather simple and just take this shade here from Utopian Dream, and then we are going to do a little bit of sparkly. Oh, and just FYI, because I didn't mention it in the beginning of the video, but probably it will be in the title, I am going to demo another one of my new lipstick, bougie lipstick escapades for you today, from Chanel. I was whining some weeks ago that I would like to include Chanel, you know, with my bougie lipstick escapades, but their packaging is just so utterly boring to me that I felt quite uninspired. Because to me, you know, part of the bougie lipstick experience is not just about the formula, it's also about the presentation and the packaging. And I feel like Dior is quite plain with that. I can understand their aesthetic is geared towards a certain, you know, customer, and that customer probably isn't me. But I was unwilling to include them in my experiments just because I need to try them all. But then they went and released this new collection literally like a week ago or something. Again, something with Nuit. There's something with Nuit in the collection, and I'm probably going to have that in the title so that I don't have to struggle to remember it now off the top of my head. Let me apply a couple of sparklies. I think I'm going to take my beloved Venusian Sunrise. Is that how it's called? Oh gosh, I forgot. Oh no, Astral Venusian Orchid. And I'm going to pop a couple of those, very, very few, here over top of Golden Polaris. Oh, that looks so pretty. Oh, that just made Golden Polaris that much more spectacular. Let's quickly finish off the eye look. On my lower lashes, I'm actually going to take Blue Blood from the Interstellar Icon Quad, which is this beautiful, deeper eggplant sort of purple. And I'm going to complete the look by running that here on my lower lashes. Alright, I am back. Let's talk about the lipstick. So the lipstick that I purchased is from the new limited edition Rouge Allure Velvet collection from the Chanel Nuit Blanche collection. They come in this beautiful white packaging, which is, like I said, the reason I was attracted to these lipsticks finally, because their normal lipsticks do not come in this white packaging. I think they just come in like plain black packaging. This is just gorgeous to me. I am a sucker for makeup in white packaging, and the contrast of the black and the white just is so elegant to me. So I absolutely love the presentation of this lipstick, which is one of the reasons I was so attracted to it. And I've been curious about the Rouge Allure Velvet formula. So the idea with this collection is that all of the lipsticks are named after, you know, you've gone out to party and apparently in the wee hours of the night you need to change up your lipstick like 7 times. There are 7 shades and each of them is named after a hour past midnight. Now, grandma here will not be awake after midnight, so I purchased the shade Midnight, which is 000. That's a joke. I didn't purchase the shade just because it's called Midnight. I purchased it because I liked the actual shade. But let's talk about the packaging, because I was a little bit confused by it. So the packaging has a little like click mechanism, and you have the logo of Chanel here, and in fact your lipstick is upside down, so the bullet goes inside upside down. And then I noticed that the writing that usually goes on the bottom of the lipstick and like the actual Chanel logo were flipped around. So I thought, wait, this doesn't work quite as I'm used to. So in fact your bullet is going into the lipstick a bit counterintuitively like this, and it has the clicky mechanism. And then the shade that I bought, like I said, is the shade 000, reflecting midnight, has the Chanel logo imprinted on it, and the bullet is actually very similar to the ones of the Rouge Dior lipsticks, as well as the Hermes lipsticks. It's like a more like pointy bullet. And the shade that I purchased is described as a sienna red. It is just beautiful. I already tried it a little bit yesterday because I am the kind of person that has zero patience. Patience is not among my virtues. And in fact, I put it like half with my Dior Rouge Velvet in the shade 866 together because I was curious how the formulas and the colors compare. The Dior shade is deeper and definitely more of like a matte feeling to it. Like the finish is more matte. These are called the velvets, but I don't know that it felt like a velvet. Let me put it on. So here is a bit of a wider shot of me wearing the shade 000 from the new Chanel Nuit Blanche collection. It's called the Rouge Velvet, which sort of implied to me that it's going to have a somewhat more matte finish to it, or a demi-matte, but honestly this applied like a classic satin formula. It has quite a bit of a sheen going on to it, so I would not describe this lipstick at all as a matte. It went on beautifully. And it is not as heavily fragranced as the Dior. I think the Dior, Rouge Dior lipsticks are more heavily fragranced than this. This is more subtle. And I have to say, the way this shade looked on Margot Robbie is pretty much what I'm getting from it as well. So Margot Robbie is the face of this collection. I also think she's like a face for Chanel. So you will often see her wearing Chanel outfits and wearing Chanel makeup. And she was the face of this campaign. and I feel like the way the color looked on her is exactly what I'm getting from it. It's a beautiful shade. It's not a very bright red. It's definitely a warmer leaning red, but without being too orange. It has the sienna tones. It's a really beautiful shade, actually. Do I not have like a million red lipsticks that are somewhat similar to this? Probably I do, but this whole exercise is not about shades as much as it is about me experiencing all those like different collections. So I am very happy that I have finally added a Chanel lipstick to my collection. Now, since I just put on this lipstick, I don't know how it will wear throughout the day. Maybe in an hour it will feel more like a demi matte and it will actually dry down to somewhat of a more matte finish, or it will just remain a satin and it will wear like a satin. I will update you in my monthly roundup and empties, or whenever I do some sort of like a roundup of luxury lipsticks. Don't worry, the ones from Prada are not going to be red because I purchased so many of these bougie lipsticks in red shades. You're probably getting tired of me demoing red lipsticks, but don't you worry, the ones from Prada I don't think are red. But you know, there's only so much you can tell from the descriptions on the website, so maybe they will have reddish tones to them. We shall see. Hopefully you enjoyed this super rambly video. Do let me know what you thought about the TV shows, the movies and all of that, you know, all the off-topic things that we discussed. But also please do let me know if you picked up any of these Chanel lipsticks. What do you think about them? Which shades you picked up? Do you have any others from this formula? What do you think about the formula? I would love to hear from you. As usual, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!